I'm so excited to talk to you. Cheers to you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We don't
Cheers.
have anything,
Cheers.
but yeah. Cool.
So this has been a long time coming for me, because like I just need to say I feel like I was on board a bit early with you because I'm a very big Eurovision fan. I watch Eurovision every year. I also watch all the X Factors. So I remember you from X Factor Italy 2017. So I've really seen your evolution. But as much as I always saw you at the Star Power, I'm still very happily surprised by how big you got here because, you know, the odds were not necessarily in your favor in America in that, you know, rock bands don't tend to do well these days. Not too many Eurovision bands besides ABBA have done well here. You don't always sing in English. Not too many Italian artists have broken through here. So I guess this is a long way of me asking, with all of those things that made you so different here, how do you think though you bucked the odds and became like one of the biggest rock bands in America in the last 10 years or so? I'm so happy for you, but it's such a kind of out of nowhere thing.
I think probably the thing that maybe has made the difference are all these differences, you know, the fact that maybe we didn't try to conform to the market or something that was not authentic for us. I think people can see this and appreciate it in our music. And that maybe nowadays it's quite sad that often a lot of artists get forced to do something that is not who they really are, because it's not what is trending in the charts and stuff. So I feel it feels quite refreshing to maybe see a young band coming up and playing something that is not what is more modern at the moment, but it's just something that they genuinely like and resonate with.
Interesting. Well, do any of you have stories of when you were starting out that people were telling you or forcing you even to kind of change what you were doing to be more pop or more
before Sanremo we had a whole team telling us to do that. Then we won Sanremo and they kept doing it and we won the Eurovision and we changed team.
Yeah. What were they telling you to do? Like, what was some of their terrible advice?
Yeah, like they thought that ZT1 was a shitty song. They told us, and this is the most iconic thing that ever happened to us. If you think that I Want to Be Your Slave, it's a hit, you don't know nothing about music.
That person still have a job?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Pretty big.
Clearly they were wrong, but you said that was one of the most iconic things that ever happened to you guys, but obviously tons of iconic things have happened to you in the last almost 2 years at this point since you won Eurovision 21. What would you say have been some of the biggest like holy shit moments basically? So many dreams must have come true. There must have been so many surreal moments.
It's very hard to pick, but I think that one of the craziest, also because of how it happened, it was being in the dressing room, dressing up, and then you turn around and you have Metallica waiting for you. And hi guys, we just wanted to say hello because they told me that you're great guys. So and you're like, how the fuck it's happening? How?
That was
That because of how it worked, I think it's the craziest. But then we have many different experiences. We opened for the Stones, the Iggy Pop collaboration. We had Flea said that Victoria is a rocker.
Yes, go.
She's a rocker.
She's a rocker. Yeah, Guns N' Roses, lots of cool things.
Amazing. So there's a couple songs, specific songs on the album Rush that I want to ask about. And one is sort of kind of maybe about what we were just sort of talking about is Cool Kids. Obviously it's very tongue-in-cheek and kind of snarky, but it's sort of like you're talking about cool kids who actually aren't that cool or aren't really cool. Like, can you tell me what that song is about? It's sort of about, there's lines in it about like people not thinking rock is cool or whatever.
It's just like it's we wrote the song immediately after the Eurovision, so we had this feeling that we were like invincible, but at the same time we were a bit pissed off because we won the Eurovision, but our team was telling that our music is shit, and then there was all the controversy with France and cocaine and shit. So we also had this frustration, And so we kind of mixed these two feelings and create this song, which is a huge middle fingers to all the things that has been said to us.
Since you brought that up, can you talk about that cocaine thing? Because I know you got drug tested and like what they were accusing you, just for the record, was not true. But what
No, it's not
happened? No, it's not true. It wasn't true, but it
They-
was a scandal. There were rumors. There were like gifts of you. What happened? What?
It was
It
my
was
fault.
not cocaine, it was ketamine. That's the
It's true. It was just something, and they don't get it. No, they thought that I was so much of a genius, because I think that if you do that, you're more than just a man. You're like a demigod. I was so powerful to take a line of coke in live television in front of 80 million people
on the table.
on the fucking table, first row in the arena. Like
Nice and comfortable.
I wish, like the day after that I said, no, it's not true, I regret it, because I wanted people to think that maybe he's so fucking crazy that he did it. But I had to do this fucking drug test, but
To
Did
prove
they-
them
it's
wrong.
negative to cocaine. We don't know anything else.
did they make you take the test, or did you do that because you just wanted to like?
No,
put
I
that
just
rumor to
want.
bed?
I decided to do that on my own, but I regret it so much.
It was a pretty good rumor, I have to say. Whether
Yeah,
like
it was.
it was a good urban
Unique,
legend
yeah.
story and like a classic.
But you got, yeah.
So what
Yeah.
did actually happen though? Because like people were making gifts. Do you not want to say, or like, do you? I'm just curious because
Yeah, but just Thomas broke a glass, and then the man was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And then it looked like he
Yeah,
was taking.
no, they gave us points. So I was shouting really, really bad words, like more than bad words that you cannot say in television. So I banned it. I was
I
like
see.
this because I was hiding. And then he broke a glass and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then with the perspective, it seemed like
Yeah.
I had the
Yeah.
most powerful nose to snort cocaine from like 12 inches.
Yeah,
From the table.
there's also a bit of drama behind, man.
It's
there's
fantastic.
there's a lot of drama.
That's
I
crazy.
love
I
it.
wish I did it.
Just love it.
but
Pazzesco.
Unfortunately,
Well,
I don't do drugs.
I'm sorry I cleared it up and made it very clear that it didn't happen. But
Nah.
it was a good moment. I mean, people were talking
It
about
was.
maybe
It was.
maybe in some ways it did help you in America because people were talking about that moment, you know, maybe more than they would normally talk about a Eurovision result here.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
But now that we've cleared that up and we've talked about cool kids, and it's also bizarre to me that you're telling me that after you won Eurovision, this advice, this bad advice you were getting, like clearly that's when you were getting that advice. 'Cause clearly you had you'd won like the biggest talent competition in literally the world. And yet people were still telling you don't do what won. Am I
Rock
am
and
I
roll.
understanding?
After we won the Eurovision, they were all trying to jump on the train, but we fucked them off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
immediately after the television
Basically,
was.
We shook the train and they fell off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you.
That's-
Good for you. So the other one of the other specific songs I want to make sure I asked about on Rush is Mark Chapman, because when I even saw that, you know, title on the track listing, you know, kind of paid attention. I'm assuming, I know it was in Italian, but I put the lyrics through a translator. So forgive me if it didn't do it right, but I tried to read them in English. I don't read Italian. Am I assuming it's at least inspired in some way by Mark David Chapman, the man who
Yeah.
assassinated John Lennon? So obviously that's a touchy topic, even 40 years later, like, or, you know, it's a name that sparks emotion. What is
Yeah.
that song about? Like, what made you want to write it and title it that?
Yeah, the song is about stalker, like the relationship with the stalker and how without any power you are when you face a stalker, because no matter what you do, they're always gonna find a way to love you till the point where they have to hate you. Like, and immediately when you do something they're not they do not agree with. And also I think it's something that we should talk about, because it's something that I think people think that happens only in very, very specific and rare cases to very, very famous people, but it can happen to literally everybody. So
Yeah.
it's something that we should not underestimate. And we wanted to write that song, and specifically I wanted to make the lyrics in that way, and I wanted to give it that name to the song because I feel like in the last 10 years, medias and streaming services, and in general people who write TV shows and films are kind of making assassins and serial killers and psychopaths. They're kind of making them fancy and desired, and they're making them cool because they fit very well when you have to tell a story or create some interest in something. But I think that will drive to imitation, and it will drive to kind of a wrong read about these things, because then people start to think that for example Charlie Manson is a genius because he could control people's minds, but he could not do anything as that. He just found weakness in people and manipulated them. And I think we should bring back that kind of negative look that we have on this kind of people, because we are making them too cool.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because just really recently, like a couple of days ago at the Golden Globes, Evan Peters won for portraying Jeffrey Dahmer, the serial killer, in a series. And he's a great actor, but there were a lot of people that were pissed that series even happened, and were pissed that, won an award because of what you're saying, sort of like glorifying or glamorizing one of the worst serial killers ever. So it's interesting that you say that. Is that something that any of you ever in your career, or particularly in the last 1.5 to 2 years as your stars exploded, experience, meaning a stalker, crazy fans? Obviously you have very devoted fans now, but some of them might cross a line in some way.
Yeah.
I had it. I had books sent to my house, and I had weird shit happening. Yeah.
Do you mind saying any of it, particularly stuff that might have inspired this song, Mark Chapman?
Yeah, like I had this women following me and my girlfriend, and then try to keep track of everything that we was doing, and sending stuff to our house. And I don't know how she got to know where we lived. So you don't feel safe.
I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, obviously we started this conversation on a really positive, upbeat note about how your lives have changed in so many great ways because of this success. But as as you've dealt with success that internationally has become like very quick, what have been, besides what you just mentioned, of course, like the downsides of it, or the hard things about it, I guess?
Yeah.
I think like working so much and having all these amazing experiences, of course it's amazing, but on the other hand you have to leave something behind, because you only have 24 hours a day. So if you want to do, you cannot do everything. So we had to leave behind a bit our friends and family. We saw them very, very less than normal this year, and of course each one of us suffered of it, each one of us in different levels, because we're different and we face things in a different way. But I think this is the main sacrifice that you have to give, that you have to do. Sorry.
Absolutely. What measures have you taken just to put an end to the Mark Chapman conversation about your safety and stuff with all this weird stuff you just talked about? What book was that? I hope she didn't send you Catcher in the Rye.
No, I don't even remember
alright.
the book.
But-
I don't even think I opened it.
Good, probably a good idea. But like, do you like travel with bodyguards or
Oh no
security or
no! I just I don't know. I didn't do anything, and it went away.
I'm glad it went away.
Because we moved.
But with any hard stuff and good stuff that you've gone through, I mean, it must help, even if you're isolated from your regular lives or whatever. You guys are like childhood friends, right? You guys, like, how long have you been friends, and how long has this band been?
8 years.
8 years.
8
yeah.
years
Yeah.
now.
8.
Yeah, long time.
So it must help whatever you're going through, that you
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
are
yeah.
going through it together. Did
Yeah,
you
so-
always plan for like world domination? Is when you started the band, is this what you envisioned? Was this
We
the
wished
goal?
for it. Yeah, I think we could only
Yeah.
dream it and never think it could become true, but then we got lucky.
Very, very lucky.
Awesome. So one of the things, I wanted to ask about is obviously you've had a lot of success in the last 2 years and you've had a huge hit here with Beggin'. But even though that Rush is your third album, for a lot of people in America, it's probably going to feel like it's your third album, right? It's your third studio
Yeah.
album.
That's right. That's right.
But for a lot of people in America, it's kind of going to feel like your first album. Like, I'm sure they, streamed the previous records, but like this is kind of like an introductory album for a lot of people. So like, I guess going into making this album, did you feel that? Did you have something to prove? Like, what were you thinking going into this record, knowing that?
We went with the exact same mindset that we have every time we write a song, but just knowing that this time we really had the chance to be listened all over the world. So that didn't put any adding pressure on us. That just drove us to do even better, to spend 1 hour more thinking about things, because now we really have the chance to make something that lasts.
Did you you sang more in English on this one?
Yeah.
And do you, when you write, like, I guess when you write English language lyrics, is that harder for you, or does it trigger a different part of your brain?
It's easier, actually.
How is it easier? That's interesting.
Because I don't judge myself, because it's not my language.
And why and how do you judge yourself when you do the
Because I know Italian is my first language. So if I write a sentence, then I think about it over and over, and I'm like, okay, I know I can do it better. This is too simple. Because Italian has a lot of different tones, how you can say things. You can say a thing and make it very superficial or make it very deep, just changing how you say it.
To kind of follow up on that question, do you feel more emotionally connected to the songs that you write and sing in English, in Italian then? Would you say?
No. I just feel more pressure to do great. Like, it has to be perfect. And in English, it doesn't have to be perfect, because it cannot be perfect, because it's not my first language. So
I see.
it has to be my best.
Well, I know I need to wrap things up, but I do want to say I started this interview by talking about not just Eurovision, but also X Factor Italy, that you were all, I remember, I'm a big Struts fan, so I remember you covering the Struts on that show, doing Kiss This.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Sure.
I actually, when I saw you guys at the Roxy, Luke from the Struts was there. I guess as an American who watches some shows like that in America, like American Idol and The Voice and stuff like that, rock artists that go on those shows out here don't tend to do that well here in the rock world, because here there's kind of a stigma about talent shows, that it somehow isn't credible, or that it's maybe considered like a shortcut to fame, like you didn't pay your dues. I don't agree with that, for the record. Is it different in Italy and Europe?
Also in
No.
Italy, it's like
Also in
that.
Italy,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
sure.
we never cared about it, because we've always seen it as a chance to share music. And then we think that if someone judges us based on if we play the talent show and not on our music and on what we're really doing, then they're stupid, and it's just worse for them, I'd say.
Right.
Like, we try to do what we like, and then that's a way to share it with a larger audience. And it did work. Like, our music did resonate with a lot of people that discovered who we were thanks to these shows, So then I think people should just be open-minded enough to judge if they like an artist and their music based on what they're really doing and not where they come from,
Yeah.
So there was no trepidation that going on either of those competitions would be, in the long term, maybe a mistake for your credibility or anything like that?
No, we never thought of it.
No,
Oh.
not true.
Obviously,
Credibility.
I think you got obviously it's worked out quite well for you. You knew what you were doing all along. So congratulations to all your success. My last question for you is that you've obviously already realized a lot of your dreams, and well deserved. What's like the one thing that you'd like to, like one dream you'd like to accomplish as a band next?
Ooh, tough. Playing Glastonbury.
The
Gonna
stomach.
be very materialistic.
Okay.
A Grammy.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say.
Maybe Super
Well,
Bowl. Super Bowl.
You're-
I want to agree.
You're up for a Grammy for Best New Artist this
Yeah,
year.
yeah,
so,
yeah. Could
and
happen.
So fingers crossed.
Exactly.
absolutely, congratulations on that and all your success. It's well deserved, and it's been really great to see your journey through all of this.
Thank
Thank
so
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye.
very much.
Thanks, guys.